Hi, my name is Korame, and today I'm going to be walking you guys through a kind of analysis slash how-to of healing phase 1 of Raszageth. So phase 1 of Raszageth is like definitely the most difficult part of the fight. It's hard to stay on the platform, and also there's a lot of healing that needs to be done, and just a lot of like interrupts and CC, yada yada. So it usually takes guilds about 100 pulls just to prog through P1, and then the rest of the fight isn't as bad as far as prog goes. So I think it's a good example to try and like analyze how I decide to heal that, and also it's fresh in my mind. I've been wanting to find a way to kind of explain Evoker healing because I get a lot of questions about it, so I'm exploring this format as an option, and let me know if you find it helpful or not. Before I kind of get into the fight, I do want to show you guys the talent setup that I'm running. So this is a little bit different than my normal talent setup. So the first thing you probably notice is that I do not take Essence Attunement, which is what causes Essence Burst to stack 2 times. I saw one other Evoker doing this, and I was like, I'm going to try just taking this off and see if I miss it, and I didn't miss it, so I liked it. You can put that extra point over here in Exhilarating Burst. Each time you gain Essence Burst, your critical healing is increased by 30% for 10 seconds. This has really good synergy because you're always playing Spark of Insight, so I definitely like that. Also, just because the burstier healing, I felt like I was getting super good value out of it. It's not a lot of like constant throughput for the most part. I also usually put a point here in at least Empath, but I'm not using Spirit Bloom that much, so I may end up, like, if we get further in phase 2, I'm using Spirit Bloom a lot, and I think I would get good value out of Empath. Maybe I take a point out of this and I put it into Empath. To wait and see. And then normally I put 2 points in Grace Period. However, because this is a longer fight and the DPS matters and also the mana matters on a 14-minute fight, I'm taking Energy Loop. Over here on the left side, you do have to take Time Spiral, and then also since you're rescued people, Twin Guardian is also a really good option. Taking this for disintegrate damage. You also maybe want to consider taking Quell or the reduced CD on either of these if you need to be interrupting the sparks more often. For the most part, we were having an easier time with that, so I just moved those points elsewhere to do like more damage with like Scarlet Adaptation and stuff like that. Also being able to put Source of Magic on my Disc Priest because those things eat a lot of mana. This is going to be, it's a long fight, so mana matters a lot on this fight for the healers. Now, as far as the fight goes, in case you aren't very familiar with how it is, sorry, my cat is blocking my other monitor. He's going to be needy this whole time. I made this little chart just to show you guys. So it basically plays very similar to Heroic, with the exception that there isn't a slow thing on the ground, so you have to find ways to stay on the platform. But there's bombs, sparks, winds, bombs, winds, spark, bombs. Basically, the main things I want to point out to you are like 3 like kind of overlaps that are scary, and that's right here where you come back from winds, you have to get in position for your sparks, and there's a bomb right after. And then over here where you get bombs, and so these bombs have to stand close. The bombs do fall off damage like the further out you are, so those bombs have to stand close so they can get back in for the sparks, and so you have to make sure that you're topping people from the bombs for the sparks to go off about 2 seconds later. And then also towards here at the end, right at the end of the winds, everyone gets sparks on them, and then right after that the bombs come out. So those are 3 basic checkpoints, and like the chart right here is my healing, and so you can see the 3 like big spikes in my healing are where these 3 overlaps are. That's where I'm putting most of my CDs so that we can get through those cleanly. And just to give you kind of like a visual idea of how I'm divvying up CDs in case you want to see that, I Dreamflight the first winds. I store up a Stasis to prep an Emerald Communion for this first bad overlap, and then for the second bad overlap I use Tip to Scales here as well, and then I use Rewind, and then on the last ones I use Dreamflight, and I also have a Stasis already built up before I Dreamflight to release on those sparks when I land. And I'm going to show you that all in the video they're about to watch, but if you just want like a roadmap idea of what the plan is for healing this fight as far as major CDs go. Okay, so here we are. So on pole, I press my staff. I also usually in like pot that this is the last poll last night. I wanted to use the most recent poll. And then I just do damage here. Name of the game mostly here is just putting out temporal anomalies and pressing Disintegrate for damage, and also pressing Living Flame for damage. And then I'm just now using my first hover charge, so just in case I get the bomb here, like as a healer, you're most likely going to get 1 if not 3 bombs to every single pull, so you gotta be making sure that you're saving your movement for that. When the bombs do go out, Time Dilation is a super OP external on this fight because it's a 1 minute CD, that and 1 minute sack from Holy Paladin. So we're basically like every other set of bombs, we're making sure to external someone. So in this case, I'm externaling our Disc Freeze Docent, so you can see we put Time Dilation on him. There you go, I put it on him. And then we're all stacked up here ready to dodge the breath, and then an AMZ is going to go down. So we always try and dodge the same direction to get into the AMZ. So right now I have all these echoes prepped, and then as soon as this bomb goes off, I'm going to press reversion. So what this does is it gets reversion on everyone, so they're all going to take 5% increased healing from me. And also you get great golden hour value from waiting until the damage goes out to do it then. Then we're going to all get into our positions for the sparks. So this is where we have a Disc Priest ramp going, so I'm only going to Verdant Embrace and Dream Breath here. And then for the most part, just going to let the Disc Priest do whatever he does. And then get into position for these wins. So during these wins, it's going to be my Dream Flight, which is why, so these reversions, they're ticking out right now, but for the most part, they're all going to last for my Dream Flight. So I'm going to get extra like healing value out of my Dream Flight because I reversion on everyone. And then I am also about to activate my stasis. And I activated my stasis and I'm clicking, I'm sorry, I know it's blurry, it's because I downloaded it from Twitch. So sometimes the video quality doesn't stay that well when you download it as a Twitch VOD. However, I've activated my stasis and I'm casting Temporal Anomaly right now. And this is going to store the first temporal anomaly in my stasis. So you want to, if you are doing a stasis where you have multiple temporal anomalies in, it is really ideal that you find a spot like this where you're doing something in between that's not going to get stacked in your stasis, whether it's something like this, a Dream Flight, or it's just like a part of the fight where you can just DPS, like meaning like just disintegrate and living flame the boss without worrying about accidentally storing something in your stasis when you have to do the 3 temporal anomalies. So I'm going to Dream Flight here. You want to make sure you don't make your, like, you don't wait till the end of the platform to Dream Flight. Not because you're afraid of falling off, but because you're afraid the lightning breath that is coming out right here. So you want to make sure that you're not going too far of a distance so you don't get stuck in the air and you just get stuck having to eat a lightning breath. Same thing is going to come for Deep Breath later when I show you that. So you can see me get off to the side. I'm going to immediately cast my next temporal anomaly, and then I'm just going to disintegrate. The bombs are going out right now. There's going to be a barrier getting down, so I'm going to cast my last temporal anomaly in here. And then when those go off, so we have lots of echoes out, this is where I'm going to press a reversion. This reversion is mostly just for like golden hour type of value, and I got a little bit like healing there for my Dream Breath. I'm basically just going to hit another temporal anomaly. Oh! Then I'm going to release my stasis right here. It's going to release all the balls in a second when I do it. Yep, there it is. And so everyone is stacked up and they're eating that. So normally I would say I normally release that like a second earlier than I did right there. So that was a little bit bad. The main idea here though is that we're getting all the echoes out because after these wins, sorry my cat is in the way again. After these wins is going to be this overlap right here. So this is the wins too that we're getting ready for. I'm going to rescue a Resto Shaman and then take a gate after that. And then right after that is Sparks. So I just released my stasis to get all the temporal anomalies out, and then once we get back in from the winds, I'm going to Emerald Communion to heal us all through the sparks to make sure that we're top before the bombs. Also, the sparks are a little bit staggered, so if you have some kind of active healing going towards it, it could save someone, although for the most part, you should never be in a position that it has to. Yeah, you saw I released my thing. I also had to hard cast an echo on the mage here, so I'm usually always looking at the mage, the hunter, this rogue sometimes cheats here, and our disc priests are like the big like scary ones, also the devastation evokers. I don't care as much about things like the warlocks, the unholy DK and things like that, because those guys are usually pretty tanky, but I usually want to make sure that if those ones do not get an echo from my temporal anomaly, that I'm taking the time to hard cast on them. So here I'm going to rescue, go into the gate, and then I need to get in position for the sparks. So I always Verdant Embrace myself here, and you're going to notice I do it before the sparks go off, because you want to go into the sparks healthy. So people do take damage during those wins. I did have some reversions still ticking on them during those wins, but of course I want to make sure that they're all healthy going into the sparks. And Emerald Communion Lifeline Healing is going to do plenty, even though it's like only like towards the end, to make sure that like everyone is pretty topped and we're all going to be healthy going into these bombs. So during these bombs, there's gonna be a breath, I get out of the way and I start casting a Spirit Bloom, have it go off, then I'm gonna press a Dream Breath, and then probably another Temporal Anomaly, of course, because we love pressing that button. There it is. Alright, so this one is going to be my Deep Breath. So After this one is going to be another scary overlap where it's going to be bombs into sparks. So those bombs have to detonate really close to the group in order to make sure they can get back in for the sparks. And it's also like the gap there was much longer than the gap on the next one. So the next one is scarier. So that one is going to be my rewind. So you're seeing me get all of these echoes out right now, but I'm not going to use them until after the hurricane wing. And the first thing I'm going to do with them is press a reversion to get a lot of golden hour value. And also that means that when I do my next big ramp, they're all going to have reversion on them with grace period value. So do reversion, so it goes on almost everyone, probably 1, 2, 3, 4 people total missing reversion right now, which is pretty good for me. And then next, the bombs are going to go out. So I'm putting out a temporal anomaly. These, like, whatever echoes are going out right now are going to be healed through like a verdant embrace and lifeline healing. So the bombs are going out. So before the bombs even go out, I'm going to activate my verdant embrace because as soon as the bombs go off, I want to press a rewind and I'm going to tip the scales a spirit bloom. And the whole idea behind this is to make sure that everyone is going to be topped going into the sparks. So yeah, I VE before the bombs go out. The bomb just went out, so I'm about to mash rewind. Then I've mashed tip the scales. I'm about to mash my spirit bloom right there. And see, we're all topped before the sparks go out. So it may be tempting to try and save your healing to do as much healing like after the sparks go out or something, but the most important thing is that we're all topped going into the sparks. After the sparks go out, there isn't a lot of like scary stuff going on for a little bit. There's a little bit of a gap. Sorry, my cat's in front of my other monitor. So like after these sparks, we have a little bit for the next winds. So I definitely want to use all my like healing and making sure that we're healthy going into the sparks. We're not in danger for a while after here. Oh, I clicked the wrong thing. Okay. So yeah, these sparks go out. I press out a dream breath. I have my tail swipe ready if I need to do it or not. And then right here, I'm basically just going to be getting out some echoes and stuff for when we get back. And here is going to be my time spiral. And I'm going to be rescuing our resto shaman. So this one is the one I have the least amount of movement for, but also it's not that bad because there's nothing really scary out of these winds. Like the past 2 winds, there's something like right after the winds that are scary. However, this one, way more chill. So it doesn't matter that I can't get back to the group right away. So you're gonna see me rescue our resto shaman and then try and stay on the platform, dodge the breath, get out some echoes if I can. And this is where I'm going to set up my stasis. So I do get a bomb here. This happens, it's fine. In the stasis, I want to... Sorry about that. My cats did often troll me. It's like my second time trying to make this video today, so I'm just going to go with it. Alright, so here I'm going to press stasis, and then I'm going to verdant embrace, dream breath, and spirit bloom inside that. So this is very different from my last stasis, where I did 3 temporal anomalies. That was getting ready for a big ramp I had, whereas in this case, it's not really like a ramp I need to do. Cat. I just need to make sure that I have lots of burst healing when I land from the next dream flight. So here, 3 temporal anomalies would be very good because it kind of takes time for those to... Number one, I need you to be stacked in order for it to be effective, which isn't going to happen after I do the dream flight. And it's not really like a ramp that I have ready like I did before, like with an Emerald Communion. So you'll see. So here you saw I verdant embrace, a dream breath, and then I'm going to spirit bloom. And again, the spirit bloom is just not going to do like any healing here. But that's not really the point. The point of the spirit bloom is that I'm going to have burst healing for when I land for later for when I need it. It doesn't really matter that it does over healing here. That's just the best place I had to set it up because it didn't come off CD until then. So here you saw as well. So before, when I put out my echoes, I waited until after the winds in order to proc all those echoes reversion. However, for this one, I use reversion before because I want the reversion ticking during so that they're getting the extra healing from my dream flight. And also, I just don't have time after I land, like you're too global starved. To actually like press a reversion, and you're more likely to like save someone this way for this one because of how fast it is, basically. I tried both ways on both wins, and this is just how I liked it. Or not how I liked it, but it worked better. So you see I dream flight here, get in position as close as I can without killing anyone. It's hard to see under the wings, and I activate my stasis. The people who died, they overlapped too much and they got hit by an extra. They would have lived otherwise. And then we have the next bombs go out. So for the most part, not everyone here is topped. The kind of bad part about me dream flighting and then landing here and then talking this like the stasis over here is that I can't always hit like the squishiest targets because a lot of our range and stuff end up standing over here, because this is like mirrored to how we do it under the boss when we do the gateway. So a lot of the squishier classes are back here, and I don't get to hit them with my stasis healing. I can only do it up front here, where like the tanks and like our like Windwalker and Arms Warrior who aren't really that squishy, which is a shame, but that's just how it goes. The Dreamfly's a bit more important. So those bombs go off. We do lose our hunter there. I don't think he got an external, and he just dies if he doesn't get that, because that class is squishy. And we do push the boss here, but again, we have 2 people dead, so I'm pretty sure we do this intermission, and we definitely perish. Yeah, that is basically just how I heal phase 1. Let me know if you have any questions about why I put something here or there, or just questions about why I didn't do something else. I'm more than happy to talk about them with you in the comment section, or if you want to come by my stream anytime and talk about them. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a good day. Also, I just realized while editing, I forgot to show my healing breakdown in the video, so if you want to see it, here it is.